Hello, you're welcome to part 6 of my leadership training using the Homefront as an example. My name is Yemi Omogoyega. Kindly remember to like my videos, press the share buttons to share the videos extensively, subscribe to my channel, very important, so that we can flow together, and press the notification button so that whenever I upload more videos, you will get to know. And, honestly speaking, the rate at which I'm releasing videos now is like I'm actually fully out to bless humanity. So God bless you as you watch these videos and share them and subscribe, and as well as like them. I know some people have been watching us. I see the statistics, but I discovered many people are not commenting. Your comments are welcome also. Let's know how you feel. God bless you. Now we are into part 6, as I said, of my leadership training, starting with the home front. Before I start talking about the other aspects of the couple's responsibilities outside the extended members of the family, this time around the friends, your church, either your mosque, your clubs, your community, your country, your office, and so on and so forth. Before I talk about that, I want to just briefly discuss what I can call the limitations, your leadership limitations in the home front. Your leadership limitations in the home front. But before talking about the leadership limitations, I want to quickly add this to sum up my training on the couples leadership role, particularly, the couples leadership role in their families. Now, and what I mean by this is I want to talk first about, and I'll buttress it with an example. You must develop a vision, a corporate family development vision, a corporate family development vision. Now, if you look at what we have been talking about before, we're talking about the role of the man, the role of the woman in, taking good care of the extended family members, and we split them into who the extended family members are. You know them by now. Now, let me use my own life as an example of what I mean by developing a corporate family development vision. Now, from my youth, I really thank God. Like I said, this must really be the work of the Holy Spirit, because nobody taught me but the Holy Spirit. And even by then, I was not a regular church goer. I was only being forced to go to church by my mother. Thank God for her life. She actually, put me in the way I should be. And today, to God be the glory, it is very beneficial to me. And but the first thing I identified when I was young was the fact that I was born into a poor family. A family where, apart from food, okay, when I say family, families now, because I have two families. I have my legal family, I have my biological families. I stayed more with my biological family, with my legal family, more than in my early days. I stayed more with them. That is, not until the age of 36 years or so, I was still living outside my biological family's setting. And why? That one is a different story entirely. But if you are eager to know that, you will read, you will listen, you will watch more videos on my autobiography, or ask for a copy of my book, which actually told these stories in full. But very soon, I think I've started recording them, but very soon that book itself will be on YouTube. Now, what I said was that I looked at my background. We are not living in well, thank God for my legal father, who had a house of his own, and where we all lived in. My mother, himself, my two other siblings. We are four, but my eldest sister already got married, so she was out of that place. And now myself, my legal father, my mother, and my brother and sister were all living in one room apartment. So, and then of course, is an polygamous home. So my stepmother and her own children too. And I say children now because I didn't meet any. I was too young to meet any of her children because she's quite an aged woman. And by the time I came, so all her children have already got married. The men amongst them are already on their own. But my stepmother, and with the grandchildren and so on, and with the wife of her first son and so on, they were the people that I actually met in the house. So those people were shared. They are having two rooms. My stepmother was having her own separate room, while the son and the wife were also occupying another room in the house. And then the third set of occupants in the house was my legal father's brother and his wife, also, who were occupying the room and parlor in that very house built by my legal father. So that's, you can imagine the kind of community relationship that we have there. First, it's a polygamous home. Then secondly, it extended beyond just being a polygamous. That's a case where a brother decided to accommodate his younger brother and his wife, and of course his children, even giving them room and parlor while he occupied just one room with his own younger wife, who is my mother. So why he had to vacate the room and parlor for his younger brother, that's a different story. Brought about the problems in polygamous home. So, but that's our setting. Then there was no other luxury that we had. Clothing was once in a year, maybe during Christmas, and during Easter, maybe just Okrika, and so on and so forth. And apart from, we are blessed that my legal father was a good farmer, so food wasn't our problem. But going to school was a problem because my legal father was already old, so, and of all his children, apart from my brother and my sister, who were, let me say, educated to the primary school level. In fact, my sister actually dropped off at primary 3 or so. My brother made it to primary 6, Then myself, by the special grace of God, I made it to primary six. And this was made possible through the free education program of the late great politician, late Obafemi Awolowo. And otherwise, that would have been impossible, because I even remember that, look, to buy a fountain pen, when I started using pen, pencil, and all these things, there were problems. To buy exercise books were problems, but all the same, the grace of God saw me through. And then my primary education lasted 3 years longer than it should have been. You can imagine that, not because I was failing, no. At the time I was 10 years old, 1967, July to be precise, my legal father passed on to glory, and my education was halted. So later on, one of the reasons I always say that, look, your extended members of families contributed one way or the other to your life, one way or the other. Let me tell you how one of them contributed to my own life now. Now, from my legal father's side, his uncle, no, his, can I say nephew now, one of his relatives, decided to take me away to Imesi Ekiti, and with a promise that he would send me to school. He did not, though he fed me very well and was taking me to the farm, but I had a vision beyond farm or farming. So I wasn't pleased with that. With the help of my brother, who came to greet us, I managed to run away from him. Now, I came back home. Now my school was a problem. How to continue with my school was a problem. So here comes my mother's sibling, one of my mother's younger brother. She had two younger brothers, but the last born of the family, Uncle Israel. This is where the maternal support started. Then this man made a promise to send me to school. He took me away from, with the permission of my legal father's people, and then took me away to Idari. We sojourned there for about 3.5 years, 1967 to 1970, and throughout the period, this man fulfilled his promise, sent me to primary school. So you can see. So then thereafter, I returned home to my sister, eldest sister, who then, from 1970 to 1972, took over my primary education, and by the special grace of God, I completed the primary 6 education in 1972, December, and that was the 9th year of my starting the school. So I spent 9 years in school. So that's to tell you. Now you can see the interplay from my maternal side, support came. You can now see that I also, from even my own siblings, my brother later took over, and so on and so forth. It got to a point too that I could not continue. Then I had to continue with my education myself. I sought for employment. God helped me through my brother. I got one in a textile industry where I was a laborer, and I did that for some time before I could, but all along as I did that side by side, I was taking my tutorials and a local private lesson, and from there, well, The rest is history. What do I want to bring about from this one? From these experiences that I had, I discovered also that my mother was very poor. I mean, she sold, she used to sell catfish and all this dry fish and meat and all that. But how much of it can she sell that will build her own personal house? And it wasn't even a major vision for women then to own their own houses once their husbands' houses are still there. So that was even no problem. But what I didn't like was the hardship that we had to go through. Even whenever I wanted to buy just something like a fountain pen, and I remembered I lost one. One fell into the school's latrine, pit latrine. That when I was, using the latrine, and by the time I came back to tell my mother that the pen she bought for me a few days before was already in the pit, she was like, "Hey, why are you putting me into this agony?" She was angry and all that. Then, if you read my autobiography, you will see. So, poverty is not good because she looked up and down. Look, this child must not stop schooling, yet he has lost his pen, which I have no capacity to replace. You see, and she wept. And not only that, another woman again came, and in the process of my mother trying to think of what to do, or again, um, visiting her anger over me, this woman came and abused me very well. You can see what poverty could cause. She abused me very well, as if I deliberately threw it into the pit. And you can see it is all of them borders upon poverty. If I had two pens and one fell into latrine, shebi my mother will buy me another one, and I will replace that one later. I will still have something to use. But the very following day, I must use a pen, and there was no way of getting another one. So all those ones, this elderly woman scolded me very well. My mother was like, she expected that I would react like the normal violent young children, not respecting the age of the old woman. But no, that was not in my character. In fact, what I was looking at was how to get out of the trouble, not what anybody is saying. An error has come, it has come, and so poverty is still the behind the whole thing. So because of all these experiences and things I went through later in life, of course, even as early as those periods, because then I knew that I must develop a corporate family development vision. What do I mean by that? I knew that my father's side, legal father's side, let me not be talking about my biological father's side, is even worse. Let me put it that way. When you get talk of poverty, I mean, it was worse. So both sides, I inherited uh, harvest of poverty. So let's leave that. So what I said was that, okay, by the special grace of God, I will make a change. In the first place, I tried to map out the strategy on how to make this change. Vision, action. Then I put out with my little way, I made a commitment statement, and I said, by God's grace, God will use me to turn around the captivity, the poverty captivity of my family or families. So, and I knew that for that to happen, first of all, I must liberate myself before I could liberate others. That's why education, which my mother had introduced me to earlier and which she kept singing about, became a major pursuit, because from there I knew that if I was educated, and I got secure good employment and so on, I'll be able to help not only myself but my corporate family. So from then I had said I will be the bridge that will, that can be used to cross from poverty to prosperity by my corporate family or corporate families. So as a result of that, I mapped out the strategies and I said, okay, by the time I'm educated or I secured good employment or any employment at all that I was earning money, I will start helping people to helping people directly from my family so that they can be liberated from poverty. Because I looked at it, I said, look, even if it was well with me and it was not well with my sister and brothers, then there will be problem. If it was well with me, it was not well with my mother's brother. I told you about the story about my brother, my mother's uncle who came to borrow money from my mother and who could not help her, only for her to be supported when the little money I sent to my mother came. You see, if it was well with me and with my mother, and it was not still well with my mother's siblings, then there will be problems. So I saw all those ones and said, no, I rejected poverty. And I rejected it for me, and I rejected it for generations after me. I rejected it for my corporate family. So I decided to say, okay, by the time God starts blessing me, what I will do is I will sponsor my mother's siblings, my brothers and sisters, my own siblings. I would at least I will sponsor one child from each of them. And then after I must have finished that, I will go to my mother's siblings and then sponsor a child each. They were 5, I believe. And then by the special grace of God, I was able to sponsor a child each from my own direct siblings and a child each from 4 out of the 5 siblings or 4 siblings that my mother had. And by the special grace of God, today, all these little efforts of mine, to liberate the corporate family, that is corporate family development, to make the family to rise beyond the poverty level, have yielded positive results. Today now, we had employers amongst them, chartered accountants amongst them, IT specialists, and every other person in their own field. They were doing so well. They are doing so well now. Even today, I'm even a direct beneficiary of the good deeds that God had used me to do in the family. So today, I can say, to God be the glory. Our families are no longer what they used to be. They are no longer used to be. We still have those who have not yet been lifted up, but I pray for them because there is a limit to which one person can do. Otherwise, that person himself becomes poorer. But I pray that God will shower his favors. But all the same, in a family before where you cannot find the primary school holders, school certificate holder, when you are now having degree holders or specialists, you're having lawyers, you're having, educated people and so on, and at the same time, in a family where we lived in one room, how many of us? Very many. But today, we now have people from that same family, building their own houses, training their own children, and we really thank God we have moved. So you must develop a corporate family development vision. That was how I pursued my own, and it worked. And I thank God. That's why you can see everything I've been teaching from part 1 of this very message borders upon, you know, actually lifting up. When you do all those things that I told you there, and which I did myself and got the results from, no doubt your families will surely cross the river or, or the bridge of poverty into prosperity. It doesn't happen in one day. It can take 2 or 3 generations to really move around. But today, we are moving in my family, and I believe that if you try that, your families too will move. Now, because of time, let me stop here so that we'll go to part 7. Part 7, I will now be dealing with what a corporate, what a couple should do, in terms of supporting friends, supporting communities, supporting in their own clubs, churches, and so on and so forth. I didn't want the video to be too long, so let me stop it here. It's just 20 minutes or a little, okay, about 26 minutes. So it's getting long so that you don't spend so much data at once. So, and like I said, all my videos are not posted in the original form because of the size of the data. I always compress them to about just 20% of its original size. If a recording is 1 gigabyte, what I release to you is about 200 MB, 20%, so that you may affect the quality, but in order to reduce how much you will spend on your data. So, once again, I thank you for listening, and let's meet in part 7, where we'll be looking at those things. Remember to share this one. Remember to watch the previous ones, because it's better to flow from the beginning. If you just jump at the middle, you won't get the full thing. So it's a series, and I don't know how many I'm still going to make out of it, but see you in part 7. God bless you.